Let's go ahead and chat about how all of this stuff works. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I am Shaniqua Dupree, your Navy transition coach, and this is where I help you to navigate life both in and out of the Navy. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys all about funeral honors details and how exactly they work, how you get paid, how do you actually know that the details are available, and basically everything in between. So for starters, if you want to be on funeral honors detail, okay, you got to be in the Navy Reserves, and it has to be available in your area. If your area doesn't have funeral honors detail, technically you can contact another NRC that has them and ask to be a part of their detail. The good thing about that is that you will get paid mileage, if you drive, of course, from your location, your home location, to the location of the funeral honor detail back to your home, okay? But the caveat there is it has to be 50 miles or more, okay? So if you want to get paid for the travel portion, you will get paid to do the funeral itself, but if you want to get paid for the travel there, then it has to be 50 miles or more, okay? Good stuff. So for the funeral that I'm doing today, the one that I'm going to right now, it is not 50 miles or more, so I will not be getting paid for the funeral, okay? And that's fine because, well, I won't be getting paid for the travel portion. I will be getting paid for the actual funeral itself, and that's fine because it's still money. Now, the amount that you get paid for the funeral, just the being on the detail, not mileage, just the detail, depends on your rank, your time in service, okay? Because technically the way that it's broken down is into periods. So when you're in the Navy Reserves, let's say you go to drill weekend, right? You get paid by the period. First, second period of Saturday and Sunday. So all together in one drill weekend, you get paid for 4 periods. The first period, the second period of both Saturday and Sunday, okay? So when you're doing a funeral honor detail, you only get paid for 1 period. Does that make sense? Now, the reason I'm telling you that is because there was a time that I did a funeral on a drill weekend. But the way that it worked is I did not go to drill for that period because I was doing a funeral for that period. So it was the second period on a Saturday. So instead of me getting the how do I say this? The drill weekend pay, I got the funeral honors pay, okay? And doing that will also help you to get paid more because you're going to have to reschedule that period of where you were supposed to be at drill, but instead you did the funeral honors. I hope this is making sense. I really hope it's making sense. So that's exactly what I did. So I went to drill weekend in the morning on Saturday. Great. Got covered for that period. First period on Saturday. I'm gonna do a funeral instead on this Saturday in the evening or on the in the afternoon. So I was like, nope, I'm not gonna be coming for drill weekend. I'm just going to reschedule it to come back during the week for that period. So one period is just 4 hours, right? And then I came back on Sunday to finish out my drill weekend, both periods. Boom. Okay, we got that? Good. So let's see. If you want to get paid mileage, you have to go 50 miles or more. It's so interesting because you have to use DTS, the Defense Travel System, to submit a local travel claim, right? So when you go on there, it'll say local mileage or something like that. And you have to look at their calculator, their distance calculator, and use that in order to get the correct mileage. So you could put it in the GPS and say, it could say, oh, I traveled 51 miles, whoop, whoop, I'm going to be getting paid travel. But then you go into DTS and they say, oh, darn, you only did 49 miles. Baby, you're not going to get paid. Not for mileage. And this detail that I'm going to, I'll always go here. This is a pretty popular location that we get funeral honors because it's a national cemetery, right, for veterans. So we get a lot of funerals here. And I think it's like 48, 49 miles. And I was like, man, I live pretty far out from most of the funerals. So whenever I do a funeral outside of this location, I'm most likely going to get paid for it. Okay, so that's that. So let's talk about getting paid. Let's talk about how do you get paid for your funeral that you do. Caveat here, you can only do one funeral per day and get paid for the funeral itself, for being on the detail. Okay, for me, I've done 2 funerals in a day one time. And the good thing about it, though, the reason I did it is because I knew I was going to get paid mileage. So I only get paid for one of the funerals, but the mileage is what I got paid for. So it really covered the funeral details. So each one of my funerals that I do, I get paid $110.55 after taxes. Okay, after taxes. Before taxes, it's about $128 and some change. But afterwards, $110.55 per funeral. So this month, I'll be collecting, actually, I try to make it my goal every month that when I do funerals, I get $1,000 per month just from funerals alone, right? My schedule is pretty clear throughout the week. So I, make sure that I put myself on the schedule or, request to get on the funeral details. So most people, they work a regular 9-to-5 job. I go to school full time. If you know anything about going to school full time, then you know that it's not a 9-to-5 going to school. It's it's based on, like how many classes you're taking, how often you have to actually go to class. So I only go to school once out of the week for about 2.5 hours. And that's considered full-time for the VA, which is good for me. That's all I need. That's all I need. And then I get BAH and all that stuff from, VA. So, yeah. So that's pretty much how I get paid for like, for work and stuff, and for the funeral honors. So look, if I'm like stumbling over my words, please forgive me. I'm trying to get this video done all in one, like the majority of it, because I still want to show you kind of the behind the scenes, of course, of the funeral honors detail. Like where I go to change my uniform, like what we have to do before the funeral actually starts, and all the things. So nonetheless, I get paid, like I said, $110.55 per funeral after taxes. And that usually shows up in my account a week and a half after the funeral is completed, at least. And you can actually go on to your My Pay and look at your LES, and you'll see where it will show you the current period, the first period or whatever, and it's talking about the periods of the LES, not the drill period. Okay, I know I'm talking about 2 periods, right? But I'm specifically talking about on the LES. It has a little drop down button, and it'll show you a list of different periods that you can see. Anyway, pick the most recent one. Look at your LES. I'll always look at the printer friendly version, because it's too much to just keep clicking all the tabs through to see what I'm looking for. I don't want to do all that. I want to look at everything at the same time. So I click on the printer friendly version, and at the very bottom of my LES on the left hand side, it says how much I'm going to get paid, and the date that it is going to be deposited in my account. And it also shows you the exact funeral that you are getting paid for. It'll say FHD, Funeral Honors Detail, along with the date of the funeral. And I always keep track of my funerals, even on my own, in my phone as well. Because sometimes the NRC will forget or something. I don't know who it really is, but the NRC will forget to push it through and you'll be waiting. So last week on the 7th, about the 7th, I don't know, something like that. No, anyway, sometime last week, I think it was last Friday or Thursday, I got paid for a funeral that I did on March 24th. And that's not how it usually works. Like, that's a long time for a funeral. Anyway, friends, I had to, remind my funeral honors coordinator, hey, I didn't get paid for this funeral. And thankfully I actually kept track and didn't just depend on the NRC or the funeral honors coordinator to, keep track of it for me. I would have been out $110.55. Okay, I'm trying to keep track of my expenses. So I keep track of it myself, but you can also go into, like I said, my pay and look at what funeral is getting paid and when. Okay, you can also look at the past. That's why I mentioned those periods. Each of those periods is essentially tracking what you're getting paid for that period. So unlike on active duty where you get paid on the 1st and the 15th and your LES only shows up once a month, your LES for the reserves shows up whenever something comes up for you to get paid for, if that makes sense. So if it's for the funeral honors detail, if it's for a bonus that you might get, and that's being like paid out, if it's for your drill weekend, all of it's going to be, I don't know about the bonus, don't quote me on that one, but just giving you some examples. All of it's going to be on the LES on those drop down boxes. So just keep clicking them to see, what you got paid and when. Okay. Let's see. So let's talk real quick about, let me see, is there anything? So with mileage, you still, like I said, you have to go through DTS. You have to have all your paperwork and stuff. When I say paperwork, I mean the funeral honors worksheet that you get. So when you sign up with your NRC, you're going to get put on this email list, and everybody who's on this email list will get shot these emails that says, hey, we have this funeral and this is the location of the funeral, would you like to be on this funeral honor detail? And you'll reply with, I'm available, yes, I would like to be on the detail, or whatever, right? And if they choose you, you'll get a response. If they don't choose you, you will not get a response. There was a time where I thought I was chosen, and I put it on my calendar to show up for the detail. And thankfully, I messaged them, and I was like, am I supposed to be on this detail? And they was like, no. Because I get a lot of these requests, and I start on my email so I can, set them apart of which ones I'm actually on and which ones I'm not. So tracking system for this funeral honors detail is important. Track your money, track when you got to be, at the location, what time, the day, and all that stuff. You also have to pay attention to, what uniform items you need, because sometimes at some locations you need gloves. For our location, we need gloves for our funerals. Okay. You have to pay attention to the seasons changing and what uniforms you need to actually wear. So April 1st, we actually switched over to the dress whites from the dress blues. Let's see. Talking about mileage again. Yeah, you just go into DTS, do all the things that you're supposed to do. I'm not going to get too much into that because it's a lot of details. My point here with that is really just you get paid. That's all I'm really trying to say with it. You get paid for mileage if it's 50 miles or more, according to the DTS calculator. 50 miles or more, according to the DTS calculator. Okay? Really simple, really good. Now it's right now it's I think 65 cent point something like 0.8 or something like that. 0.658 cents, something like that, per mile. So I try to, make sure I get a good portion of miles. And remember, it's 50 miles there, 50 miles back. Okay, and you get paid for each 50 miles. So you get paid one way, or basically each way you get paid, coming and going. Now remember, I told you about that funeral that I did. It was 2 in one day. I got paid for one funeral honor detail, and then I got paid for the mileage for the other detail. Now it wasn't just for the other detail, it was for the whole day. So I went from my home to one funeral, to another funeral, and then to my home. Okay, and all that mileage that I drove for the funerals, I got paid for it. Now the reason I did that again was because I wanted to get paid more, of course, but I was already available that day to do funerals, so why not just tack one on and get the mileage for it. Okay, so for example, let's say that the funeral that I'm going to today, technically if I just went there and back home, I wouldn't get paid for mileage. But let's say I go there and then I go another 50 miles, 51 miles, and then back home, I'll get paid for all of the mileage. I hope that makes sense. Okay, what else? Okay, let's talk about the detail. The detail itself is 2 folders and 1 bugler. Okay, bugler. One person to play the bugle. I mean, technically it could be done with just 2 people. I've had to do that before because one of the people got into an accident on their way to the funeral. So I had to play the bugle and I had to fold the flag. So the person who's playing the bugle, that is literally all they do. They salute, they play the bugle, salute, that's really saluting and bugling, and that's it. Okay, but there's specific things that you have to do if you're going to be one of the 2 people that's holding the flag. There's a person who is the head, right? The person who is the head, they're the ones that the person is folding the flag to, so that they can present the flag to the next of kin for the person or the veteran who passed away, right? There is, we do, I don't know why my voice is getting so pitchy. I think it's because it's the morning time. But so there are urns and there are caskets. Okay, there might be trees, honey, I don't know. These families can do whatever they really want to do. Okay, as long as they request the funeral honors to render service for their family member. Yeah, if they want to, I don't know. But at the cemetery that I'm going to is just the urn and caskets that we do. Okay, because it's a national cemetery. And I'll show you guys when I actually get there and you see what I'm talking about. Okay, you'll see the headstones and all the things. So like I mentioned, there's 2 people that is folding, right? The person who's at the head, it's okay, so the stars, right? The United States flag, it has stripes, it has stars, and blue and red and white, all the things, right? So the stars will always be at the head on the left hand side. So if the flag is laying on the casket, right? If the flag is laying on the casket, it'll look as though the stars are over the heart of the deceased person in the casket. If you lay the flag on the casket, it'll look, and you're looking down at it, it'll look as if the stars are over the heart. That's how you know that the flag is the right way. Okay, there are times when the flag is definitely wrong, friends, and we have to flip it and then fold it. That happens pretty often. It happened to me yesterday when I did my funeral. and that's fine. So the person who is at the head of the casket or at the head of the flag, they'll be tucking it after you fold it, after the foot person who is at the foot of the flag, after you fold it, you know, you'll hold it so that the person who is the head can tuck it in there for you, and then, you know, you fix it, you press it down, you know, lift it up so they can inspect it, and then they salute, they take the flag, and then you salute, and then you go and stand to the side and wait for the person who is at the head, right? Okay. So, after the funeral is over, you guys will, you know, march out of the way, back towards your vehicles. The funeral honors usually go first. At this location, we always go first, but there are some places that we don't go first, so we have to wait a little while to, you know, do the funeral. I meant to do our part. So yes, like I mentioned, we're gonna talk about uniforms now. Like I mentioned, you have to make sure your uniforms is always ready, which is good, because if you ever have like some random inspection for your command, it's already ready, and you're gonna wear this uniform at least, depending on you. For me, I try and do 3 funerals at minimum per week, minimum. Okay. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays and Fridays is when I'm available, plus the weekends, but I really don't care to do funerals on the weekends. So I try to get them all, you know, during the weekend. Anyway, so you're gonna be wearing this uniform a lot, your dress whites and your dress blues. So get them cleaned often. It'll be nice if you could get them cleaned once a week, because you wear them so much. But at least once a month would be nice. The only caveat to that is you're trying to do funerals, right? Taking that time to get your uniform clean, it takes time. So it honestly might be best, for me, if I put my funerals into the cleaners on a Friday after a funeral, and then pick it up on Monday before a funeral. I think that's what I did the last time I actually switched over to the dress whites from the dress blues, because I wanted to get my blues cleaned and I wanted to get my whites hemmed as well as cleaned. So yeah, I do not like wearing my dress whites so much, but you know, it is what it is. You just get it clean. I do like that these don't get dirty as much. Like if it was cotton, it would be a different story, but being that I think it's like nylon, polyester type fabric, it's not that bad. And so, as you guys saw when I first started the video, I turned my uniform inside out. I turned my uniform inside out. Whenever I take my uniform off, I always turn it inside out, because I don't want it getting dirty. Like if it fell in my vehicle, it might get dirty. The cover is different. Okay, that thing gets dirty so quick, and that is cotton. But the new cover, remember I told you I had 2 covers. The new one that I haven't worn yet, that's a different fabric. I want to say it is like nylon or something that you can actually clean yourself. But the cotton covers, honey, if you get that thing dirty, you might as well just go ahead and get a new one, and they get dirty quick. So that's a lot of money spent for those covers. The cotton ones. I think it's cotton. It looks like it is. It feels like it is. Anyway, what else? What else can I tell you about the funeral honors detail? Like I mentioned, you can do them out of your area if you want to. We definitely get some requests to do some about 1 or 2 states away, some neighboring states. I know in California, in specifically San Diego, I don't think they have funeral honors detail. I really don't think they have it. I really don't. I don't think they have it for the reservist, I mean. Because I remember when I was over there, a part of their NRC, I remember asking about it, and they was like, oh yeah, they don't do that here. They actually have a funeral honors team. And I was like, what? And when I say team, I mean like from the active duty side, they have a funeral honors team. I was like, well, that's crazy. I don't feel like that's true. I don't think I talked to the right person, but I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But if you set it up right, you could definitely get paid a pretty penny for your military duties, or for military duties, for funeral honors. Like my goal is definitely $1,000 per month, and this is after taxes, for funerals. And to be honest, it gives me the freedom that I desire to have in my life. So like I mentioned before, I go to school full-time. I do funeral honors full-time, and when I say full-time, it's really whenever I can get on the detail, because it's not automatic. Just because you say you're available doesn't mean that they're going to pick you. It's only 3 people that can go on. I'm glad I mentioned that. At the very beginning of your you getting on to funeral honors, right, you can do what is called under instruction, or UI. Okay, and that's what I did, because I did funeral honors when I was in Colorado a lot, but that was years ago, and I really forgot everything, right? So I came back and I was like, can I be on the funeral honors detail? Can I be on the detail? But not do anything, because I want to just, stand by and learn. It was like, for sure, absolutely. Now, I wish I wouldn't have gotten off of the details so quick, because with that, you can go on any of them, and they'll select you for, if you say, hey, can I be a UI for this detail? You don't have to wait or beat somebody else to the punch. You can just go, because you're not going to be a part of anything. They're not depending on you to fold, play the bugle, or present. You're just standing there observing, so you can learn what needs to be done. So take advantage of that. Definitely take advantage of that, because it's like guaranteed, right? And so I'm not saying, take advantage to the point that you never do, be actually a part of the detail, but like, don't rush. Take your time, learn the details, ask questions, all the things, so you can be ready for the detail, for you to actually be a part of the detail. Excuse me. Let's see, what else do I have for you? We are maybe I'm gonna say 15-20 minutes out. Oh, I'm glad I mentioned that too. So when you get the email and you say, hey, can I be a part of this detail? And they say, yep, you're on the detail. What they're going to say to you in this email is the time of the service, the name of the person, location, such and such. There's actually an attachment that you get, a part of the email, that has all of this information, whether it's a casket or urn, just all the information that you need for the funeral. Okay, but they're also going to say, hey, these are all of the people that's going to be a part of this detail. Please send an email and confirm that you received the email. So what you're going to do is you're going to reply all, and this is something that, I had to learn. You're going to reply all. Everybody is going to go to all of the people who's a part of the detail, the funeral honors coordinator, and you're going to say confirmed. That's it. Very respectfully, and and then you're going to put your name, first, last name, rank, and stuff like that. And then you're going to put your phone number. Put your phone number on there, okay? Because when you get to the location of wherever you're going, you're going to want to make sure you know where your team members are. You guys, of course, aren't going to all be coming from the same place, right? You're going to be coming from different places. So you're going to want to know, the time that it's going to take for them to get there. Technically, On the worksheet, it's going to say that you have to be there at a certain time, right? 1 hour before the funeral actually starts. Okay, you're not going to know the exact time to be there by looking at the paper, because the paper is going to give you an hour ahead of time. You're not going to see. So if the funeral really starts at 10 o'clock on the paper, it's going to say 9 o'clock. You're not going to see 10 o'clock anywhere, because they want you to be there an hour ahead of time, so that you can give yourself time for like other things that are happening, if that makes sense. For example, let's say there's some traffic issues. Let's say you forgot a pair of socks, okay, because you have to be in the proper uniform. You forgot your black socks that you needed to wear, or you forgot a neckerchief, or somebody, anything, could happen, and they give you that hour to figure it out. Okay, they give you that hour to get there, well, to get ready for the funeral, get prepared for it. Just figure things out. So that's good, because you know how you tell people, hey, this starts at this time, but then people show up late anyway. It's like, we gotcha. You're not going to be late for this, because you're not even going to know that the funeral really starts at 10 o'clock, because we're only going to tell you an hour ahead of time, right? So if that's not something that's explained to you when you get to your funeral, please know that's how it's going to be. That's how it usually is, okay? An hour ahead of time. So what else? To be honest, it's really not that complicated. I just want to be the one that gives you the details as to how it works, what it looks like, and all the things, because me being your Navy transition coach, I want to give you some options. These funerals, like if you say, hey, I'm gonna be there, you better make sure you're there. You better make sure you are there, because if there are too many times where you say you're gonna be there and then you don't show up, or something happens, even if it's not your fault, they're not gonna keep putting you on these funerals. They're gonna pull your name, right? And you're not gonna be on the funerals anymore. Okay. Another thing is, there's always a person on the team that owns a bugle. Okay, and when I say own, I mean they always have a bugle with them. Okay, now these bugles can be literally their own, the ones that they purchased, or it could be one that they got from the NRC that the funeral honors coordinators are letting them borrow. Let's see. Oh, most of us have a flag as well, a practice flag, to practice folding and stuff, which is really good to keep, because you never know who you're going to be on a funeral with. Many times you're going to be on the funeral with the same people, but it could be different people. It depends on how many people are actually on the email list, and when they're requesting and all the things. So yesterday there was an EN1 on the team, and me and the other sailor haven't seen him in a long time. So sometimes he's on he's on there and he's always there, and other times he takes his time off, or whatever whatever people do. But the reason you want the flag is because if you're a person who's folding, you want to know how other people fold, right? Or their expectations, and so forth. So that was me, right? With the person that I folded with yesterday, it was the first time that I was on a detail with her. So I was on a detail with her before, but I was the UI because it was a active duty service member that we did a funeral honors for. She was the bugler, and I was just there because I wanted to see the difference between a reserve veteran, not a reserve veteran, but yeah, a reserve veteran. No, I don't know. There's a difference between an active person who passed away and is doing the funeral honors, or has the funeral detail for them, and then the veteran, right, who passed away as a veteran, not as an active duty person. So there are, I think, 6 people on the active duty folding portion of the flag versus 2 people folding for the flag. Okay, you have to look up how that's done, like on YouTube. There's some YouTube videos out there if you're interested in seeing how that's done. And yeah, I just wanted to observe. So there are times where you can be a UI even when you are still, actually a person that's a part of the team. I didn't want to be a part of that team. I was not ready. I didn't even know that there were going to be 6 people that would be needed to fold a flag. That was very interesting to me. That was very interesting to see that.